Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Sunday special episode. Today we've got special Helen Charlie and
Hi.
Jay.
You don't know
We've
what you can't say anything nice about me in public. It's like I've got the special Helen Troll and we got
The other side.
Jay.
Jay.
After the
Welcome,
call, he's
Jay.
gonna be like,
Great
after
to
the
see
call,
you
he's gonna,
again.
after the call, he's gonna be like, but I didn't say anything bad about you. That's how he'll get himself out of the not the
Oh my
amazing Jay
God.
or my business partner or my brother. Nothing like that. No, I didn't say anything bad.
Oh
What's
my
your
God.
problem?
You're so sensitive today, Jay. What
Almost a
happened?
compliment.
The compliment was not saying anything bad about me. That was the compliment.
Wow, I don't know what happened to you, Jay, this weekend, but
I don't know.
clearly
Either.
very sensitive
So
today.
sensitive right now.
Is that a compliment?
It is. Yeah.
Oh my God. Um,
Love
Cool. Well, I'll come up with some compliments for next week. How about that? Yeah,
You know
It
what?
take you
Do
all
it's
week to
like
think about.
it's like or on our daily Zooms, I'll come up with one compliment a day. Okay,
Okay, I
that
like
gonna make
this.
you happy?
This sounds like
Yeah.
personal growth. I'm a big fan. Let's give it a go.
Oh,
Great.
look, he's glowing already.
I'm feeling the love. I've gone all warm.
All right. Well, that's one way to reduce your energy bill.
That's it. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, today we're missing Adam and we're missing Ross, and they couldn't attend the call, but there's three of us, and we expect a lot of questions from people in the chat box. So if you guys have any questions or anything you want us to discuss, we
Yes.
invite it open.
Yeah, seriously, this is like your opportunity to get your questions answered while you can get a word in edgeways.
Yeah, this is
Oh,
a
look,
free.
Ed's just joined us.
Yay! That's yeah. Ed, we were just talking about you about 10 minutes ago in the context. It doesn't matter. You'll find out. I think you should look for clues in the video and tell us if you know what we're talking about. Morning, everyone. Morning, Dominic. Ears burning. Well, you close, Ed. Okay, amazing. So this week, I mean, actually, before we press the live button, we're discussing already a few interesting subjects, and we were like so involved in the conversation that it took us a while to go live. But yeah, the topic of the conversation was actually quite interesting. It was about investing with people and about yeah, expressing our opinions.
It was more really about making a move from investing in real estate to investing in people, right? So
Mm,
it's because we know someone who's an investor. They've been investing for some time, real estate mainly. Change of circumstances, they need to step back from active investing, and now they're like, well, I'm thinking about lending my money to X. Doesn't really matter who X is, good, bad, or the ugly. It doesn't matter. But they were talking to me, and I said, well, maybe it's worthwhile booking some consultancy time in with Helen, because this is what Helen does. Helen understands property to a degree. You know, you're not a specialist in that, but you understand how a deal works, how the
Yeah.
funding works, and how much you're going to lend, right? And it's a completely different skill set. It's like we used to say that there's a massive skill set between being a landlord and a developer, right?
Yeah.
Different metrics, different risks, different everything. So hopefully you guys will be able to sit down and have a chat. But what would be like the top 5 things, without devaluing your consultancy hour rate? What are like the top 5 things that you're like, well, these are the major considerations, like in terms of like just top line, you know?
Well, you kind of said one of them already. The focus really is, if you're coming at it with enough knowledge, and I really do think you need to have, like, kind of technical knowledge of understanding what you are invested in. So that's great that this person has that, but the focus is no longer like just on the deal. it's on you. You've got to kind of assume that, you know, and back yourself that you can understand the metrics of a deal because you've been doing it. So you really should. And if you're not confident to do that, you shouldn't be investing with somebody else. So that's the first step. But the focus then has shifted from the deal to the person. Because when you're handing over money, then you are no longer in control.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you need to have as much confidence as is possible that this person can deliver what they say they're going to deliver. That's one point. And the second, that they will do right by you. And it's why I spend, you know, God, my messages and that the whole time, I've got this deal. Would you invest it? I'm looking for a JV partner. I'm like, yeah, good luck with that. It's why I spend so long, you know, getting to know people, watching people, reading their social media, seeing, you know, them at awards, chatting, seeing who they are. A lot of it's a very different approach, a very different focus. You know, like I say, you have to kind of assume a bit the competency of the person that you're investing with, although it can be very wrong to make those assumptions. But other than that, it's looking at the person. And for me, gosh, assessing so many different things, but over time, is this person consistent? Do they do what they say they will do? You know, what do kind of other people think of them? Have other people had good, bad, indifferent experiences? You know, this whole thing about getting not recommendations, when like testimonials, you know. And actually I was judging some awards, the Landlord Investment Show Award this week, and they have a part of it where people put in kind of testimonials and suggest somebody who will speak well of them. Well, I love that, and you absolutely need that. But also, like, I reckon I could find you 10 people that would tell you I'm a good cook. I'm not. I never will be. It's not my values. It's just, I have no intention of putting any effort into that area and probably never will. But I could probably find you people that tell you I am. So I just think you have to, when you get testimonials like that, they don't have as much credibility. They don't have as much substance as watching somebody's actions, words, and assessing that over time, and if that's consistent. So that's a few little different bits for me in there. I don't think I should have used the word assume about assume that capability, though, because that's very wrong. And actually, that was something I was thinking we could talk about today off the back of that, our off-camera conversation, that how do you see through people that talk a good talk? Because a lot of people are very good at talking a good talk. If they've had any kind of training in sales or anything, or marketing or anything, people are very good at positioning themselves in a good light. And again, sometimes those cracks only appear once you've been watching that over time. You must come across loads of people who talk a good talk.
I think you can always tell when someone's talking a good talk, and it's difficult to believe it instantly, is when the good talk is just general. It's general good talk. Like, there will be buzzwords and there will be principles, and it all lines up and it all makes sense. But there's no real kind of depth of knowledge beyond that.
Yeah.
We went to a Baker Street property meet. This was years ago. Before COVID, maybe like 2018, 2019. And there was a lady that was talking, and she was presenting herself as someone that worked in economics or banking or something like that in the UK. And then she was talking about how she finds the deals and how she does this with the money and how all these different things. And it was all just kind of like things that someone had just read as like a headline, right? There was actually no depth and no consistency to what was being said, almost like it was being manicured to attract a very specific avatar within a room. And that's the stuff that normally makes me think, yeah, it's not there. It's not
Mm.
there.
And also, like in auctions, especially, like we can spot someone who talks a good game super quickly
Yeah.
because in auctions, you like you can talk like you're interested, you want to sell, you want to buy, you want to do whatever. But like very quickly, those words need to be backed up by actual action. Like you need to send over, I don't know, IDs. You need to send over the deposit. You need to get the legal pack reviewed and stuff. So and we can see very quickly who's talking a good game, who is willing to actually do things. And sometimes we actually have to like even stop them because they act too fast before even thinking. But then there are people who just keep talking and they're not acting on the words that they're saying. And we had a situation recently where there was a deal and someone was interested and they're like keep being interested and nothing was happening. Like when we asked them to like, have you reviewed this? We asked specific questions, there was like no answer, and there was like just change of subject. And we get a lot of the time situations where someone wants to sell a property and they come to us and then we're like, okay, this is the reserve price, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to sell this. And then suddenly 2 or 3 days later, they're like, yeah, this is great, but someone just expressed interest when we told them we're going to sell this in the auction. Like, yes, okay, let's go through this whole thing again. So basically, what that means is someone expressed an interest because they fear they're going to lose this property, but now they have to perform all those actions, and probably 6 or 9 months down the line, this person who wants to sell is going to come back to us, and they're going to be like, "Yeah, I should have gone with you guys straight away, or I should have gone with the auction in general straight away," because auctions make people perform. If they're really
Yeah.
interested, they will perform. If they're just saying they're interested, they will drag you along 6, 9 months and lose money. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Not what you want in a market that's heading down.
exactly. Yeah, it's a rather annoying situation, especially like those deal like, so we hate doing private treaty deals. Private treaty deals are quite. I mean, they just if they take 6 to 8 months, it's really annoying, and then anyone can back out. So um, yeah, there's no consequence. If there's no consequences, people can just talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the unfortunate thing with investing in someone's deal is like you see the consequences when it's already too late. So you need to like train yourself to know what could be the possible consequences, how you will act in those situations.
Yeah. And even when you see it happening and you warn other people, I've done this on 2 different occasions with 2 decent-sized deals. I've warned people about 2 years ahead of what was going to happen. And I'm not joking, 2 years. And I
Mm,
remind them, I'm like, I did tell you this at that meeting in December 2019, remember? Well,
mm,
yes, but Hmm.
yeah.
And here we are.
This is like watching a car crash in slow motion
Yeah.
Yeah.
over 12 months.
Yeah. And that's
Oh,
what, your experience, my experience, that's what that buys you. And that's what actually, people are like, oh God, it's really expensive to have a consultancy with you. Yeah, because I'm going to save you a lot of money.
Yeah, we anyone that says, oh, if they contact us saying, oh, can we? I'm looking at 2 or 3 properties that I'm looking to buy at auction. Can I book a 30-minute consultancy? And it's not the most amount of money, but it's it's £100 plus VAT, right? And the amount of people go, oh, but based on what you've just told me, I shouldn't buy any of these 3 properties. I said, no, you're welcome. So- and you are, because like either the property's not right for you, or what you're trying to do isn't right, or there are fees in the legal pack that you wouldn't have noticed. So someone who does go on to buy the property is now buying it less the amount of the hidden fees that were in the pack. So for
mm,
£120, they've saved themselves £5,000 or £6,000. So yeah,
Yes.
absolutely, you're welcome. You're
Yeah.
not normally getting us to tell you something sparkly and shiny. We're
mm,
not big educator property marketing people. We do deals. we
Yeah.
tend to keep it quite simple. Even with the buyers clubs, someone can send in 8 or 9 deals and go, no.
The amount
And they'll
of
get,
times I have to say that.
yeah, then they get
Heartbreak.
disheartened. Then I have to do a follow-up call because Piotr just keeps telling them, no, their deals are shit. Or,
But that knowledge that you've imparted, it's not like, gosh, what's an example? It's not like you have a shower. So you have your shower, you get value from the shower because it's cleaned it, but the next day you're going to need to take that shower again. Like the wisdom that you're getting from a consultancy session, you get to keep that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you get to apply it to the next deal and the next deal and the next deal and the next deal. That is the gift that keeps on giving.
It's the ability to save someone from a fucktastrophe, essentially.
Yes.
To remove them from that kind of situation. We're going to
I
put
feel-
that in the dictionary,
I
boys
feel-
and girls. Fucktastrophe. If you want to spell that, it's F-U-C-K, tastrophe. Fucktastrophe. There you go.
Oh
Didn't
wow.
want anyone to miss out on that one, ladies and gents. That's an
Jay
important
Howard
one.
strikes again.
That's it, yes.
Amazing. Beautifully done.
No, really good. I mean, it's like, I guess one thing is to avoid a car crash. That's like a number one thing, right? But then like how it is to be a Formula One driver and
Yeah.
actually navigate those things and like have a sense for all those little things that are coming your way at speed, and you just kind of maneuver through.
I've
things.
been thinking about this for a little while. I've been thinking, if you're lending someone money, obviously you're going to get like a loan agreement and a couple other things in place. Have you thought about putting an SLA in place, like a service level agreement for the funds that you're putting in?
Well,
So you go, here's my service level is you're
Mhm.
getting X amount at X blah 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 per month or rolled up or however you structure your stuff. But in return for that, I need a weekly update on this. Then your return around for this is that, and I need to know. And if you're in breach of that, you return my funds within 14 days. Yeah,
Ooh,
like a
that's
real like SLA, because I
Yeah.
read a lot of these things or talk to a lot of people about money that they've lent people and that stuff has gone wrong, and it all kind of seems like it was because the person was either hiding the issues or running away from the issues or doing all these kind of things. With a legally binding service level agreement, if they do not perform under that SLA,
Yep.
your money comes back to you.
Yep.
And
Love it.
how would you I don't think it's about
But there'd be
putting
like
those things in
KPIs that
place.
you'd have to keep in.
Yeah,
even
but
if
once
something
you've
went
given
wrong.
your money,
Yeah. Or
it's,
it would
it's
be
like
it would
how
be
you
the power.
enforce those things.
Well,
Yeah.
it's another document. If you've signed a contract and the terms are you break the contract and it results in a return of money and they've signed it, it's a contract.
I know it's a contract, but what I'm saying is when you invest with someone, like in order to then enforce it or take over this whole thing, like you need to then take over the active management of the property or liquidate some losses because there will be like frictional costs, all sorts of things in the middle. I think
But
it's a
I
great
almost-
idea, but I think
I
then
think
enforcing it,
I think I've just been thinking about it, but I think if we want
yeah,
to go into the depths of how to get, like how
I
to
want to
actually
get
do
to the
that,
depths.
I'm happy to.
Yeah,
Let's sit down and problems. I'm into this. Let's do it. I don't know
yeah,
if today's call is the place for that, but I'd love the idea of how to make that really painfully enforceable, because the loan agreements, for the most part, is once you get the return of once the deal is complete. Well, that doesn't help if they're either not doing the work or they're hiding
Mm.
from it or they're hiding stuff from you, right?
yeah,
Which means your money is kept in that basket,
yeah.
in that your
Makes sense.
your
Makes
apple
sense.
is degrading. It's a rotten apple in a bunch of rotten apples.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we've got
Actually-
a great comment from your
yes,
fans.
Charlie.
Yes.
But I was thinking about, because I was talking to my cousin. He works for a large like a large service company, and they've got contracts with like local government, education departments, all these other things, transport and things like that. And everything is backed by a service level agreement. Obviously, they've got contracts in place and all these things, and the new products they take out and all that kind of stuff. But it's the SLA. If you don't have the SLA in that package, anything can happen, and there's almost no optics or governance or way to kind of not, well, you can complain, anyone can complain about anything, but the SLA basically nails them to the wall. And I was just thinking that could be a really cool and applicable way to kind of put that into
So
angel investment.
what I've been looking up while I just sent the link to Piotr because I don't know how to put it out there. But what I've just sent is I did an article on basically like this, like it was talking about prenups. It was actually talking about Kim and Kanye's prenup, but I called it a share nup, that I think investors should have a share nup for investments. It was in if you've got Property Investor News, it was in May's edition, and I've just sent the link, so maybe Piotr can share that on the, the comments. But it is exactly this is. Yeah, there needs to be more accountability than the legal protection that is given to your money from a kind of a practical consideration. You know, and yeah, it should cover things like communication, you know, updates to stop the ghosting that I, you know, talk about so often. And we've seen when things start to go wrong, the communication dries up, and then you don't know what's going on. So then you go off into catastrophizing, and but something like that would stop. Yeah, makes that accountability enforceable. And yeah, Piotr, like it does bring all types of practical considerations in, like, well, how would you actually get the money back? I almost think like that's not my problem. If you are clear and transparent and you talk through that and they know what they're signing up from, and if they're not prepared to sign up for it, don't take my money then.
Yeah.
You know, that's a fair point. It may just be a hurdle that some people will not jump through. Here's my service level agreement. We're going to agree on the deliverables, on timescales. If you communicate effectively and those things move, it's not a problem, but this is how it works. And if you fail to hit these KPIs and the requirements on your part, you return me my money, or I take possession of the asset.
I'm going to get a lot. So I do kind of equity stuff, and I do loans as well. And what my learning from this year, I've been, like, actually, if you get me on board as an investor, I'm really quite nice. As much as I kind of sound hardball, I'm quite nice. I'm very flexible. I understand things change and deadlines move. And, in a loan agreement, there is always an end date. Of course, the money never gets repaid back on the end date. But I go into those things knowing that that's the case. And I have flexibility. That's all going to change. From my experiences this year, in any kind of decent loan agreement, you have a penalty rate. I mean, it's not phrased like that, but you have a penalty rate for when it goes over the end date. And because I know the circumstances, because people normally keep me updated, this is happening, can we be a bit flexible? I am normally flexible, and I don't impose the penalty rate. Again, that's going to change.
It's coming from Ed.
Yeah, and that type of thing could be in a service level agreement as well.
Yeah, it's a comment from Ed, who've had some experiences with claiming back money and losing money with some dodgy people's deals. I've had the same people ask for advice, but then don't act on the advice. Someone has gone bankrupt lately, advised 2 years ago to 3 people to get their funds back as soon as possible, but now all lost their money. Knowing the red flags from experience is always best.
That's so sad, particularly when they've been warned.
I heard recently someone that we've done some consultancy with for like buying stuff at auction clearly wasn't happy with the service, because we kept telling them, don't buy this, this is wrong, this is not what check out all these fees, this, that, and the other. They bought something, there were £25,000 worth of fees hidden in the legal pack. And yeah, I don't know what that does to a deal. For the most part, I imagine nothing positive. But yeah,
Whoa.
25 grand in the deal. I think
That's gonna be
I think it was a
yes.
sub £400,000 property.
Well, that's where I'm going. I'm like, that has to be a deal of a certain magnitude or a certain amount of juice to be able to afford that type of additional unexpected cost overrun,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
unfundable cost, right? That's the reality. It's an unfundable cost.
Yeah, let's come up the upfront.
So, but
Ouch.
that's it. Hopefully the deal can still work if, potentially, if it works for their strategy. But I don't know which property it was. This is just grapevine stuff.
But again, like, you'd rather know that up front. Actually, I had somebody messaging me asking about flips and things this week. And, they're beginning to think about kind of what they want to do after their current career. And I said, well, there's still kind of opportunities in auctions. But again, like, actually, I sent them your way. I sent them the image of the book. I'm like, buy this book and don't do anything before you've read this book. Because, it's you get caught out with, that's just the most beautiful example of, jumping in without.
Omar was looking, one of Omar's clients was looking to buy something out of auction recently, and he posted it into our auction buyers club, and he said, I just did a little bit of due diligence because it was like a 7-bedroom HMO, but it didn't have planning for an HMO. It was in an Article 4 area, and like the local authority there is completely against having HMOs there now. It's like, who's buying this, and because it was being sold by receivers, because like mortgagees in possession essentially. And he said, well, who do you think's in the property? I said, I think the owner's in the property, because that's what owners do when the property's getting repossessed. They think, if I'm living there, it makes it harder for them to repossess or harder for it to get sold. I don't think it's tenanted, but it just goes to show, like, someone will think, oh, this is an HMO, I can get it tenanted, blah blah blah. Not in that area, because you'll get an enforcement on it. They'll make you turn it back into a single dwelling. Maybe it has restrictions for that already in place on the title. All of these things that people don't consider, look at, or think about. They just go, that's the postcode, that's the price, this is what it says. And it is so not enough to put your money down on the back of that.
Yeah. Another comment from Charlie, that's a essay. Piotr Sinek, that's a very good point. Thank you. In regards of enforcement. Obviously, sums of money are high in this regard, but as a comparable example, when tenants stop paying their rent and tend to take pragmatic approach of replacing them as quickly as possible rather than wasting time and money trying to enforce things to receive money. Tends not to be cost-effective exercise, even though the tenants have breached the contract. Because there's different layers to it. It's like you said, sometimes it can be deterrent from, like, if people don't agree with the terms and stuff, and then you don't have to enforce it later. Just look for more pragmatic approach. But interesting.
But the difference being, though, that, like in my example or our example, like, we've handed over money, there is something to get back. I completely get, like, Charlie's approach, which is really practical. How can you get to resolution as quickly and as painlessly as possible and just move on? Makes total sense. But when money's already been handed over and you need to get it back, it's slightly different.
Great, brilliant. Well, it's definitely a subject that we could be talking forever, and also I think it needs always, like, actual practical examples, because there's a lot of theory in things, but then it's like things are best learned on actual practical examples, right? When there's a real case study. So if anyone has got those, Helen here, contact Helen and get your consultations over. Brilliant. Well, I think one of the things, one of my highlights of my week was Brendan Kuhn came to visit me in Lisbon, and he did a little tour of, like, property people. Like, he went to Porto, he came to see me in Lisbon, and I saw that he also went to see Rupert Chapman in Lagos. So Brendan Quinn events are getting more global.
International.
Love that.
Yes, and yeah, that was one of the highlights of the week. And Brendan's also writing a book. Seems to be a common theme.
Ooh.
We are updating our book. It's gonna come in a new form around February maybe. What do you think, Jay? All right, January. Jay is
God,
like,
no.
Jay's like, oh, we'll have too much time.
Yeah, that's too much time. Thanks, Piotr. Yeah. Okay, January. Fine. Fuck.
No,
And
it's
obviously Helen's writing her book.
Helen's writing a book. How's that going, Helen? What's the current?
It's good. I'm
update?
really enjoying it. It's
How are the 87 chapters on red flags going?
no, this is the only thing. I keep like, and thank goodness I've got like somebody coaching me, because I start and I'm like, oh, but we could do this and this and this and this, and I've gone off in like 10 different and planned like 10 books that I need to write. It's like, she's like, can we just focus on this chapter for like this month? I'm like, okay. Yeah, I have a lot to say. But it's fun, it's good, it's, you know, it's using all those examples, you know, many of which we've talked about on here, and taking the practical learnings from those and how you can either apply them or look out for them, you know, to yourself kind of going forward. And it's wider than just kind of property actually as well. It's about kind of investing in general. Yeah, but it's not like a how-to. It's not a this is what you need to do. You know, I think everybody was thinking I was going to write a due diligence book. It's not a due diligence book. I could write a due diligence book, but that doesn't light me up. This has got more about kind of like personal development stuff in there. So what you need to look at and the questions you need to be asking yourself to assess if investments are right for you, or what type of investments are right for you.
Not to mention a due diligence book. You know, the thing with due diligence is it can almost be a non-exhaustive list.
Exactly.
Right, because like some of the due diligence we'll do on one property won't apply to another property, right? And then some of the things we decide to look at here or do that, you know, it's always slightly different. I mean, there are fundamental basics that we follow as we go, but there are some things that are bespoke or just situational.
Yeah. And for me, every deal that you do, that you look back and you're like, oh God, I really should have asked that question, which is great, because then you ask it the next time. But like you said, next time it might not be right. Oh, we've got some interesting hot girls, weird stuff. Is that on the YouTube?
Hot girls, new dating girls. Wow.
New dating online.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay, maybe not.
I'm not interested in girls, but if there's any hot men, that would.
I mean, if it was girls over the age of 21, I could get swayed. I mean, I'm happily married, but 18 is just inappropriate, isn't it? I picked the wrong age group for us, I think.
I know.
Oh, the joys of spammers.
Yeah.
Well, funny. They, I don't know what they're. Anyway, they're blocked. They're not coming back. Sorry, guys. Oh, yeah.
Like when he looks at property deals as well. Nope. Blocked. I forgot about you. 18 girls, 18. No, not for it. No, we're not interested.
Not the right time. Maybe 14 hours ago. Sunday morning, no. Dominic is requesting a chapter on sharks.
Red flags and sharks. Oh.
I mean, those are probably 2 chapters that are going to have to be like heavily blacked out with, like you're going to have to like those leaked military documents where they just put like a black thing all the way through, and every single word will have someone's name or their company just black lined through. For the purposes of not getting sued to high heaven, this person blank is. Yeah, they're a rather litigious bunch of people, aren't they? Sharks. Who knew?
Yes.
Ranjit is looking forward to the book.
Thank you, Ranjit. Thank you.
We saw Ranjit a couple of weeks ago when we ran our workshop. and he came with his the supplies of Property Investor News, and now there's like 4 books that someone gets for signing up to Property Investor News. It's like a little library basically.
So they can
So-
pick 2 out of the 4, can't they?
Oh, really? It's
Yeah,
not
you
like
get you get not all of them. No, so you
Oh, I
get
see.
you get 3 or 4 past copies, plus you get to pick 1 of or 2 of any of the 4. I think it is. So you got our
I
book,
see.
you got the Party Wall book. I think you got Richie Clapson's book was there, or maybe
Yeah.
may not still be there. I'm not sure. And
And
I didn't even see
Rob
who it was.
McFan.
Ah, okay. I don't know who that is. Or what it is.
I can't remember what the book was about, but yeah. I would like to see the stats what book people are choosing. Oh, amazing!
Well, if you choose the back copy, the main back copy of Property Investor News, you can get my article on ShareNup.
Great. I thought there's something going on with your mics or something, Helen. I'm not sure what that is.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh,
Hello.
yes. Better. Much
Better?
Yes. Brilliant. Matt is asking if you thought of a title, Helen.
I've not actually, but when I get nearer, like, get further on with it, then I think I'll ask people for suggestions. No, I'm more like get it all out, and and then recruit the creators. I'm not creating
Okay.
profile. I'm a trader profile. Recruit the creators to come up with some amazing, catchy.
Brilliant. When you
Mind-blowing
watch
title.
this on recording, Helen, and you go to like about 36 minutes, you will laugh a lot. It seems like something with your mic or the connection, and
Yeah,
it
try
makes
and
you like
rejiggle.
maybe try joining out in and out.
Hang on, let me take this.
Let's see. You're on mute now.
How's
Oh.
that?
Yes.
Whoa!
She's
Yes.
back.
How's that?
Yes.
Wow! Look at this technical wizard.
I just unplugged it.
Nice one. Add another comment. Basic DD could save people thousands, but people don't do it. GA is still borrowing from people, not repaying back. So yeah.
Amazing.
Randy allows perfecting conversations by Rob McFan. MMA fighter or MMA.
Hey, look, if you don't like the conversation, you will by the end of it beat you into submission.
Oh, I think I would like that book. Brilliant, cool. Well, yes. Well, just want to make a plug as well. If anyone fancies a month in Lisbon, I've got my
Okay.
flat available for a month. And one of the reasons why my flat is available because I'm going for like this actually like Muay Thai Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu camp for a month in Thailand over Christmas. But another thing I'm going to be doing is rewriting the book, so working on the book. So it's like it's a working thing, and and my flat's going to be available. So if someone from the property world wants to spend a month in Lisbon, give me a shout. Ranjit saying that I am MMA, but I'll be even more after December.
All
Oh,
people heard was Piotr's going to Thailand. They didn't hear the justification or anything. They're just like, oh, okay.
I
It's
think
like
that's
that. Okay. Yeah, go on. then.
I think that's what you heard, Jay.
Whatever.
Don't be jealous, Jay. We talked about this. Amazing.
Dominic.
Okay, reference DD. Wasn't that statistic? 7 out of 10 people don't even download the auction legal pack prior to bidding.
I think it's higher than that. But yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So David Sanderman's got all the different stats that they can pull from the from the platform, and they also noticed that a lot of people who win the property, um, the winners, they're not the actual bidder. Like bidders, there can be plenty, and you don't win the property, there's no consequences to you. But if you
Yeah.
win the property, there are consequences, and there's like about 4 out of 10 people actually only download the special conditions or the legal part after they won the property.
Whoa.
That is scary. That is just based on the stuff that we see on a regular basis. That is
This
scary.
is so interesting. Such a great thing, Ed. Thank you. That's gonna be this. There's an auction coming up. A month in Lisbon. Wow. Wow. Guide price?
To be honest,
£1.
without
Yeah.
without Piotr there, it's a bit of a shit deal. I'm just going to put that because like Piotr knows the best places to like go and eat. He's a great host. I don't know if I'd go there without having Piotr there.
Oh, so nice, Dave. All right,
I
you get
see.
2 compliments tomorrow.
Yes.
No, that's actually a good idea. We could. I would have to then create an eBay thing, maybe. Huh. All right, I'll think of the logistics, but yeah. Any pre-auction offers, bids, underwrites? Actually, we did it once, like when I was running an auction workshop, like about I don't know, 4 years ago. I had this like 4 different items that we were auctioning during the workshop, and those were like an hour consultancy or something. And one day at like Hilton Waldorf in London, and it was like a £400 room, and someone did an underwrite at 275. And
I
they won
remember
it.
that.
Yes,
I was the auctioneer.
you were the auctioneer. Yes,
That
you
was
sold
good
it
fun.
for 66% of the value, Jay.
The reason you don't realize why I did that is because that was a joint venture with the underwriter. That was a deal.
Oh wow!
Me and that underwriter had a fantastic time.
Wow, Jay.
You
Not
can't
great.
release the details of the underwriter, so that is either very impressive or really not impressive at all.
Ivona is asking question: when the property is bought pre-auction, when can we learn how much it was bought for?
Land
Well,
registry.
yeah, it's gonna be like land registry after several months. Sometimes also, what I noticed that, for example, EIG, it's if it's a tenanted property, EIG would say the gross yield or net yield, normally on the guide price, but I think the auctioneers have to put the actual price in there, right?
They do.
So that if the property was rented, then it will say the actual gross yield based on the sale price that isn't disclosed. But with a simple mathematical formula, you can uncover this. So that's one of the ways, but it's also only for tenanted properties. And yeah, there isn't really much you can do apart from asking the auctioneer nicely. They might sometimes reveal it.
In some of the smaller auctions, which are less and less now, if they only have 1 or 2 properties sold prior, they will still have the amount that they've raised, including the sold prior amounts. So if you
Mhm.
just subtract all of the amounts that you know, and then you have the starting guide prices, you can get a rough idea, but it's a bit of a palaver.
Wow, look at all the math formulas that we're sharing with people at 10 a.m. on Sunday.
Yeah.
Um, Brilliant. Okay, well, um, oh, Matt's got a question. I have a rent-to-rent question. With interest, rents, and bills going up, how do you go about negotiating with landlords on contracts and locking in the rent price?
I think there's a great deal of risk to renters in the current marketplace. If you're dealing with a landlord who has recently just moved on to a new mortgage, the chances are their mortgage rate is higher than it was 3 to 6 months ago,
Yeah.
which means they're unable to take too much of a drop on the net price that they're going to need in terms of income. Yeah, that's a good question. I think rent to rent tends to work in an upward moving market, or where mortgage rates are low and rents are high, and rents are still high rather than property values going up. But yeah, that's a difficult one. I don't think any of us do anything in the rent to rent space. We may not be the best people to ask, Matt.
No.
Yeah, I did some rent to rent deals early on in 2013 and 14. But I just found that there's like you need to have it at quite a scale, and also it has to be quite a good operation. And I find that sometimes it's better to actually like be more like a managing agent rather than a rent to rent, because rent to rent you kind of between being landlord and a managing agent with the risks of a landlord, some return of a landlord also, but it's disproportional. And I find that it's much easier to be like a agent because you charge a fixed fee and you guaranteed making money.
Yeah.
And with rent to rent, you're not. So, yeah.
No, you've got fixed outgoings and variable income. The only thing, like I was thinking, but you're getting a bit complicated, and you would need a certain level of sophistication.
Ellen, can you try plugging and plugging again?
Oh, for God's sake!
Yeah, it's
Hello.
hi.
No.
No, something's is on. But it might comment the insights appreciate to agree with managing agent idea Piotr, much less risk. Yeah, and I guess like on higher level of properties where there's more of a serviced accommodation angle, I think that's more of a good way of making rent to rent work. Or commercial properties. Commercial properties are really good for rent to rent, I believe. Cool.
Is this better?
Much better.
Oh.
Much better. Something.
The only thing,
Yeah.
the only thing I was going to say was, I was thinking about the kind of the same principles as apply with land, but it's getting a bit complicated, and you need a certain level of sophistication of whoever the property owner is. But you basically do the concept of overage. So you agree a rate with them, and then you give them a slice of the upside, because you don't know what the upside is, but you give them a slice of that. But then that will then be payable at the end. It's all getting a bit complicated, but that's, as you can tell, this is why I don't do rent. but if you had a sophisticated flat property owner, that would be quite good.
Yeah. Well, brilliant. I think it's a good time to wrap things up. 10 o'clock. Time to start the day.
Yeah, I'm off to a Christmas fair to start buying my Christmas presents.
Christmas fair and presents.
It's really weird when it's like 22 degrees outside.
It's foggy and cold where I am. Just to give you guys the tour de Britain at the moment, it is foggy.
But yeah, I think a month in Lisbon would do you well, Jay.
I know. Do I get the business partner discount, or do you charge me double?
Oh, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. We'll
see how the
He was
auction's
thinking
gonna
I'll
go.
charge you double. That's exactly what he was thinking.
Oh, amazing. Cool. Well, thanks everyone for your comments and interactions and questions that you posted. And yeah, thanks, Helen. Thanks, Jay, for your amazing wisdom and wordsmithery that you're bringing to this show. Is that better? Is that better, Jay?
Yeah, that's beautiful. I feel enriched by your words. Thank you.
All right, brilliant. Nice one. All right, everyone. Thank you so much, and see you next week.
Have a great week,
Have a great
guys.
weekend.